What's up, everybody, and welcome to our first sit down with the founders of Glory Light Tabernacle International Ministry, New York. My parents, my mom, my dad, and this here is really we're gonna be discussing everything ministry, the past, present, and the future. And we're gonna really start with the past, giving you guys an insight as to how Glory Light in America has come about and all of that kind of stuff. This is really a winging thing. We did have some questions here, but we're going to just flow and see what comes out for you guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And we would love to see your comments on the video. All right. So let's get right into it. We're going to start from the past. All right. We're going to start from the past and we're going to talk about the present. And then we're going to go into the future. So the first question is, I know we came to this country as immigrants in 96, the blizzard of 96. Talk about that transition and what was that like?
Yes, thank you very much, Pastor Leonie. That transition was life-changing. Transitioning from Ghana to America with 5 dependent children, having to find everything that you would need. We stepped out in faith, the word from the Lord. But we were learning, had to learn the culture. Landing here after the 96 blizzard, I want to know what place is this? It was my first time in America.
Thanks.
You know, the challenges were great. And we stepped out by faith. I normally say, we came through immigration without a cent in our pockets. But a word from God, God will take care of you. In all the farewell services they had for us in Guyana, God gave a consistent word. God will take care of you. The planners of these events didn't consult with each other. But God kept saying, I'll take care of you. The challenge was so great that my second son, in the middle of the winter, got distress breathing problems. I laid my hands, prayed for a miracle. Nothing happened. I had to call 911. It happened twice, and I had to call 911. I said to myself, is this the America that God has brought me to affect the nations of the world? When the doctor examined my son, he said, Mr. Hall, if you can buy a nebulizer, you might not have to bring him to the emergency. But I don't have a cent to buy a nebulizer. So a bill comes after the visit to the emergency, looking at those films in Guyana, calling 911 in America. I thought it was free. They sent a bill for almost $1,000. And they said
600 or something.
$600 something. And they said you have to pay.
And you just came to the country.
Just came to the
Zero.
country.
Wow.
No medical coverage. A bill of $600 something.
I was working, you weren't working.
I'm not working. My wife just had gotten a job at a primary school. And one day, I picked up the phone, called the social services, And I said, I have a family here. We have a medical bill here of $600. I don't have coverage. The lady told me, come to the office. The end result of that interview, she took the bill from me. He said, Mr. Hall, you see this bill is gone. You will hear from us. The end result was that one of my first miracles in America. They sent medical coverage for the entire family. Even though systematically you would say we were not qualified. But God took care of us with the first miracle. My son never had another breathing problem. That was the end of it. Then I saw God used it to bring solution, provide medical coverage for all the family. So with the ups and downs, this is going to interest you. One of my spiritual father came to visit me to see what I'm doing in America. When I took him where I was living, I showed him a room. My family and I, we were in one room in my mother's house. My pastor looked at me and said, that's where you're living? I said, yes. He went back together and he was giving a report to some of the brothers and sisters. He said, you all need to pray for Pastor Hall. Pray for the apostle. Things are in a bad shape. Because it was no job, no money, no medical coverage, child getting sick. But God. One of the second things I had to do to get food, I joined Catholic Charities. I used to pick up food on Thursdays to supplement what I was getting. This walk by faith took me in paths I never walked before. And so I would have to go to the charities place to collect the food before I go to work. So I wouldn't miss the charity. I repeated the word of the Lord to us. In all of these situations, God will take care of you. Miracle after miracle after miracle. Right, Leonie? Miracle after miracle after miracle characterize the process. Let me share another miracle with you. I was promised a vehicle. Then the decision was reversed. And I was given an old, battered up bus.
Oh, yeah, I remember the bus.
The temperature is cold.
But your children refuse your children refuse to be dropped to school in the bus because they don't want their friends to they don't want their friends to see them. They prefer to walk to school in the cold. This is all in winter. Because we came in January 19th in the blizzard, just after the blizzard. So it was frigid, like it is now.
One brother says, this is not fair. How could you give a man of God a disaster bus to put his family in. Use that word disaster.
No, they said the reason they did that because the bus was a disaster.
Yes.
That was the word that was used. Oh, the bus is a disaster. So they gave it to you, who was one of the pastors in the ministry.
Right.
They gave it to you to transport your family. And our children decided they wanted the only time the children went in the bus is when we had to go to church in Brooklyn. But anywhere around the Rockaways, they refused to be seen in it. They refused. They're like, no, we're gonna walk. That's how bad it was.
You know what God did? One of the elders of Guyana was with me, and I asked him to drive the bus from Brooklyn to Far Rockaway with me. He's driving coming Kings Highway. On the extreme side of the road, the local road, Kings Highway has a local road, express lane in the center, local road the other way. Somebody left the extreme local road, crossed the expressway, and collided with this bus as though it was handpicked. He said, Pastor, accident. I said, okay, but I'm not injured. When the police come, they said they have no record of insurance. The end result of that accident, I got a letter from an insurance company that sent me thousands of dollars to fix that old bus. I took those thousands of dollars and I went to a dealer's auction and bought us
Plymouth
Voyager.
That was a
And the first vehicle.
Oh, first week.
Wow, I didn't know this story. Wow.
Plymouth Voyager. But Mark was the one who was driving the bus with the accident. Mark Fordyce, yeah.
Yes.
He wasn't injured. And then when we rolled up in the Plymouth Voyager, be like, where did you get money? All of this is happening in the first year of us being here. Where do you get money from to buy that? Well, God caused an accident. So I always said, not every accident is the devil. That accident was God. Mark was not injured. Initially, they said, initially on the scene, the person had no insurance. So we didn't hear anything again. And we heard nothing again from the police or anything about the accident. A letter just came in the mail, but a check just came in the mail, which we still don't understand. The car wasn't out of the vehicle was registered out of state registration. It wasn't registered in New York. And a couple of weeks and months after, the letter came. But I think it was like about $3,000. Yeah, $3,000, and that's how we got the Plymouth Voyager, our first vehicle in America. An accident,
God can turn around
a disaster.
a disaster into a blessing. And that changed me to understand that God was with me, even though we were having challenges. So you might be going through difficult times. It is not a sign that God is not with you. God will use your worst days to give you your biggest blessing. It was in this midst of shortages, this midst of crisis, need for money. God caused us to move out to rent our first house 6 months after we arrived. in the country.
Oh, it was 6 months? Oh, it felt long.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
It was definitely, yeah. Even that was a miracle by American standards because everyone said to us, "You moving out 6 months, or you be only here 6 months with 5 children?" I was still working at a Christian school. You had gotten a few hours here and there at a YMCA, and we got an opportunity to rent a house right across the street from my mother-in-law. And everyone's like, and people actually counseled us and says, people have been here before and says, "That's a disaster. You are making a mistake. Do not move out." We were advised not to move out of our mother-in-law's house earlier than 5 years. That was the standard. And this was coming from people who had been here before. But remember, we were all in one bedroom.
Right.
All 7 of us, we were in the same room for 6 months. That was by no means easy for a lot of reasons. And then also for me, I have OCD with certain things. I'm a perfectionist. Everything I be in order. And you having 5 kids in one room. You can imagine clothes here, this, and trying to put things in order and all the other things that comes with that. And then, even though my in-laws were really great, were good to us, they provided what we needed. They never complained one day. But it's 5 children, and guess what they're doing all day? And then they come to America, they eating nonstop. My brother-in-law, who was still in school, he would come home and all the juice is finished. He's like, "How the juice is finished?" And you would hear these things. And my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, they never had an issue. They never showed us anything. They were very supportive. But we as parents felt uncomfortable because here are your children eating like termites. And then the other children, they're coming home, the juice is finished, the fruits is finished. So that put pressure on us. We felt the pressure, and you're not in your own home. You don't have your own space. All that goes with that. As much, it doesn't matter how accommodating someone is, and especially when you're under that, when you don't have an exclusive space, it was pressuring. And so once the opportunity came, I remember when he told his mom we were moving, she was like, "What? Are you sure?" But we did that. And then of course we didn't. And fortunately for us, the person who owned the house was his cousin, his first cousin. So we didn't have all of that down payment to come up with up front. And then the other thing he would do when it was time to pay the rent, he would say to him, "Listen, if the rent was due the first of the month," he would give him the check, but he would say to him, "Don't put it in until whatever date." Right? But he did that for because his family, but we didn't have the money. So it was all a walk of faith and a step. It was it was a real faith walk and believe in God. So did we have the money to rent the whole house? No, we did not. But could we stay in that room after 6 months? No, we could not. With 5 children, no, we could not. But all along the way, God provided and took care of us. Next question.
Supernaturally. Testimony after testimony. And God was manifesting himself. Say, "I'm with you." It was in that same house. We moved in and me and my wife slept on the floor.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Because we couldn't afford to buy a bed to lie on. Our kids had a bed in the room.
Here's why the kids had bed. The kids had a bunk because the person who moved out of the house was his brother with children, and the bunk could not be removed from the home because of the nature of the bunk. It was a wooden bunk, and that's how they had beds. We didn't have a bed for months. We slept on the carpet. Thank God if it was carpet on the carpet. So here we are coming from Guyana, where we came from a 6-bedroom house, had our own car. All the kids had their own rooms. We were doing fairly well by Guyana standard. And here we are coming, we're sleeping on the floor. We don't have our own place. The kids don't have their own beds. But did God take care of us? Yes, he did. We were never homeless. We were never hungry. And so sometimes when we look and say, did God take care of us? We thinking, what is our wants? He took care of our needs. What were our needs? We needed shelter, we needed favor, and we needed food. And we got all. Even though some of the food came from the Catholic charities, we were never hungry. We were never homeless in those early years, and He took care of us. Move on.
One of my Barbadian friends came to visit me. Very good friend of mine. He supported me a lot in Guyana, financially to work and whatever. He came and he spent a few days with me. And every day I know he wanted to tell me something. He would talk, and then, like when he's coming to the point to tell me, he's going to retreat. Until the last day before he left. He said, Lennox, let me tell you something, man. You gone down in life. I know you. How many bedrooms, your house you had in Guyana? You were doing well. You come to America, you gone down in life. You know what I told him? Come suffer with me so you could reign with me later on. Because I counted that the word of God over our lives was still potent and relevant and would manifest itself. It was after, in that same 2-bedroom house, we now looking to rent a 3-bedroom. In 1999, you arrived in 1996, 1999, we're looking to rent a 3-bedroom house. God opened up favor with me. The man told me, my cousin told me, you're looking for the right thing, but you're going about the wrong way. You need to buy your own house. A man that is struggling to pay his rent, a man that doesn't have enough money to cover his budget, is being told you need to buy your own house. He says, I'm going to get you into a first-time home buyers program. I'll do the paperwork for you. But I said, I don't have no money saved. He said, start saving now. Every time you get paid, bring me $200, whatever you have. And when we reach the down payment, you're going to look for a house. Every time I got paid, I took a few dollars and give him. Until it came to me, you have enough for down payment. God got us into buying our own house. I went to my mom and I told her, I said, I have a great testimony. We'll be buying our own house. She said, you just came to this country?
How long ago was this point now?
This is 1998. It's 1998. We came in 96. We bought that house. We bought house in 1990, August 1999.
Right.
So the old transaction before, yeah.
So what's that, 3 to 4 years?
3 years.
Yeah. He said, where you get money from? And I told her, the favor of God worked out. But I needed $5,000 to close in 1 week time on the deal.